Well, gentlemen, welcome to the line. We're here in Gainesville, Georgia. I so appreciate you guys taking the time to sit down with us. My goodness, Tim, you are already a pro. Like, you check 1 2, you're adjusting your microphone. I'm impressed. I'm sitting down here with Tim McDonald of Lanier
Technical College,
and Edwin from, what was your last name, Edwin?
Parra.
Edwin Parra with McCarthy Construction.
McCarthy Building Companies.
So, gentlemen, here on the line, our goal is to lift the view of the skilled trades. So that's the real and honest conversation that we want to have. So if you want to edit something, do it up here, because once it comes out your mouth, we're not going to edit it. So maybe you don't want to tell your PR team that, but you know.
Okay.
Wow, it's windy.
Yeah.
So, well, why not to get started? Tim, why don't you tell me a little bit about your college, what it is that you guys offer, what you do. Talk to me about that, and where exactly are you located?
So we're located in Northeast Georgia. Our main campus is in Gainesville, Georgia,
Okay.
about 10 miles from where we sit right now. Founded in 1964, first graduating class 1966. I was born in 1961, so I've not been there my entire life. So we are one of 22 technical colleges in the state of Georgia. Our mission can be summed up in 2 words: workforce development.
Come on.
We have the programs at our college, and we have campuses in 3 other counties, so 4 total. And we concentrate on programs that prepare skilled workers for our local economy, whether it be manufacturing, transportation, healthcare, very large segment in our area.
Yeah.
So construction management, one of our strongest programs. So our mission is to provide programs of study, training to support our local business and industries. I'm going to throw in my little plug.
Yeah.
In my lifetime, I'm convinced every person is born with a gift or a talent. There's something that they can do very, very well.
Yeah.
And a 4-year college degree is excellent, but not everybody we know can sit in a classroom, and they just don't learn that way.
Yeah.
Many of them are meant to be problem solvers, machinists, welders, technicians, plumbers, electricians. What Lanier Technical College and the Technical College System of Georgia provides opportunities for folks to grow their gifts, grow their talents.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Our students enjoy basically a 95% job placement rate in
95%
in their field of study. Wow. So what that tells us is our students are choosing well. They know what their strengths are. They know what their passions are, and we're providing the training, the education to get them prepared for the workplace.
Come on. Well, speaking of the workplace, Edwin, McCarthy, tell me a little bit about McCarthy and what you guys do. He talked about construction management, and he talked about all these different trades. Sounds like you guys should probably talk after we're done.
Yeah.
Maybe you should connect. But tell us, for those who are listening, one, who you are and what you do at McCarthy, and then educate us a little bit on what McCarthy does.
Gotcha. So, I'm with McCarthy Building Companies. We were established in 1864. We're a nationwide general contractor.
You guys are like showing off, throwing it when you both start. Anyway, I just think it's funny.
He's 100 years older than I am.
Yeah. Wow. You guys look different, and you're.
We're employee owned, which is something
Okay.
that makes a little bit special about us.
So explain to people what that means, because a lot of people don't understand that.
So interesting enough, the company was actually owned by the McCarthy family up until, I believe, 2002, at which point they decided to sell the company to its employees in different shares. Today, the company is owned by thousands of employees across the country, and you don't buy the stock, you're actually given the stock as a part of your compensation package once you get to a certain level.
Wow.
So it's definitely an amazing opportunity, and it allows us to recruit and retain some of the best talent across the country. And then myself, I'm a craft superintendent. My sole focus is to focus on the development of our craft. We self-perform a good bit of work across the country.
Really?
Yes, sir. So that's a big focus, is to help engage, recruit the best talent across the country and help them develop and grow into company owners.
Wow. So with that, when you're talking about developing people and working in the craft and the type of work that you do, what are some of the projects that that people listening might know of that McCarthy's been involved with?
That's a great question. So we've worked at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport for quite a few years. We actually helped build the awning there, the lighted awning there.
Yeah, you might want to pause for a moment. Wow, it's still going. Well, we don't edit anything on the podcast, although sometimes I really wish we did.
Another project that I was really impressed with is the Brookhaven City Hall, Brookhaven City Center. It's a mass timber structure. For those that aren't familiar with that term, most buildings are erected with steel or concrete columns. That particular building is erected with mass timber columns. The only other project we've done like that across the country was, I believe, YouTube's headquarters.
Oh, wow.
So they're very, very unique, and you don't see that a lot of times. It's an awesome building that I was happy to be a part of. But then we do all types of work. We do a lot of work in hospitals, data centers, port work, parking decks, hotels, stadiums. We did a Allegiant Stadium in Vegas a couple years ago, where they had the Super Bowl. So it's great to be a part of a lot of versatile projects. I think that also contributes to a lot of our success, is we're able to take on a lot of different projects that a lot of people may shy away from, but it also allows us to diversify our workload and maintain a steady group and employment.
Edwin, tell me a little bit about your origins. You've only been with McCarthy a little over a year, you said?
Yes, sir.
But you've been in the trades for quite a while.
Yeah.
So what drew you to the trades, and even what drew you to McCarthy as well?
So initially, as a kid, I grew up in a blue-collar community. A lot of my friends and families, their parents either worked in some type of trade, and oftentimes we'd go to work with them in the summer times, weekends, etc., to earn a little extra cash and have money to go to the movies with, the mall, stuff like that. And that's where I first kind of piqued my interest in construction. Once I graduated high school, I delved into it a little bit, tried different things. I actually went into banking for a while, came out of that, and a friend of mine that worked for a large drywall contractor here in Atlanta reached out to me and said, hey, there's this opportunity here and I think you'd be great for it. And it was actually initially a recruiting opportunity. I'd never done it. I had no clue why he thought I'd be good at it, but I decided to give it a shot. I ended up spending 17 years with that firm.
Wow.
They were one of the largest drywall contractors in the country. And that's when I really fell in love with workforce development, apprenticeships, and also engaging our high schools and tech schools with the career opportunities. I started doing that about 15 years ago, when we saw a big gap between education and industry. At that time, across the state of Georgia, many parents were pushing their kids to go to four-year colleges, to stay out of the trades,
right.
Thinking that there's really no opportunities for growth, no success, which couldn't be further from the truth. So part of my goal was to really help expose the youth, help expose parents, teachers, instructors, the community at large to the amazing opportunities in construction, and give kids an opportunity to go after things that they're interested in, that they're passionate about, and still make very successful livings with themselves.
Yeah. Well, you touch on something that is the reason that you two are sitting here at the table, and the disconnect between education and the trades, and what's different about it. And I grew up in a time when I remember when I was in high school, everyone asked me, well, where are you going to go to college? Where are you going to go to college? And full disclosure, I became an electrician out of a necessity to make money to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to learn how to fly airplanes, and there wasn't any scholarships or anything. And so I just got a good job doing electrical work, and it gave me an opportunity to pay for what I wanted to do. But Tim, that would be my question for you is, what do you think we need to change in our perspective in that workforce development in getting our kids, and not even just kids, because I want to be really careful. I know I say this a lot, but I don't think I can say it too much. It is not an age thing. We're all at different places in life, but at any point in life, I mean, do you guys limit how old you are when you come to your school?
Absolutely not.
So yeah, talk to me about that. And one, as a culture, how we need to look at the importance of connecting these two things, and how do we do that?
So I think one thing is we just need to value work.
Yeah.
Just have a value, no matter what your job is. Know that it's valuable. You add value. It's already been mentioned that the trades are somewhat looked at differently by parents, but I would encourage any parent to, first of all, help your child realize what your gift is. We've talked about that. What's your passion? We've mentioned gifts and passions and talent. and provide a pathway to get them the training and an opportunity to grow that passion.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give a little personal testimony.
I'm all for it.
I'm a machinist by trade.
Come on.
I graduated from Lanier Technical College, and I thought I would be a machinist the rest of my life.
This is good.
And a series of opportunities presented themselves. I had the great opportunity to teach at the college that provided me the foundation. Through a series of additional events in my lifetime now, I get to be the president of the college that opened the door for my entire life. Yes. So the trades are not a dead-end road.
Not at all.
They're not dead-end. They're not dirty. They're not hard. That's where you find out what your passion is. And if you work hard and follow your passion, I'm convinced the doors will open. You mentioned the money. The money will come.
Yeah.
So you just cannot limit a child's opportunity to pursue their careers.
I was having a conversation with someone, and we were talking about the importance of one thing about the trades that you can't get away from, whether you're a machinist, welder, electrician, carpenter, drywaller, whatever it is the work. Mm-hmm. Hard work produces opportunity.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something like I want to be really clear. If you're listening to this and you're looking to make a career change in life, or you're looking to start a career in life, the importance of recognizing, well, it's going to be work. And if you're not interested in work, probably shouldn't apply to your school, probably shouldn't apply to your company. Right. Hard work is essential, and that will bring you success. I love how you say, Tim, that money will come. Success will come. And honestly, I didn't believe people when I was younger and they said this to me, but it's not all about the money.
Right.
We all need a paycheck, but the reality is it's about, one, finding your gift and what that is. When you're doing what you love, enjoy, and usually that is your gift, when you're doing those things, you're getting to experience operating at a level that is above normal, I would say. And it's extremely satisfying when you do that. So I guess I said to you guys I was going to ask you both a question. I'll start with you, Ed. What is a tool or a piece of gear that you just can't live without, that you need in your everyday life?
In this day and age, my cell phone, to be honest with you. Communication is extremely key in our work, especially in my line of work. It's constant. Emails, data, etc., phone calls, text messages. I need to be able to communicate to a variety of different positions across our company on a day-to-day basis. So for myself, that's definitely my one go-to.
Yeah. Well, Tim, how about you?
So
if you say your cell phone, I'm going to slap you.
I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say a little beyond that. I want to talk about infrastructure, electricity, and communication. So that is your cell phone. But we function now in a society where, if we don't have reliable electric service or reliable communications, we're dead in the water.
Yep.
Yeah.
So who are the people who make sure that we have reliable electricity and reliable communication? Tradespeople, electricians.
Does it sound like he's giving us a test here on the podcast? My goodness, it's like we're in college.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And we've had, in 2 weeks, we've had an internet failure due to a cut in a line and a power failure.
Wow.
And that, we've been teaching for centuries. We can teach without it, we just can't teach as effectively. So this country is going to rely more and more on those technicians that can diagnose, problem solve, troubleshoot. And so I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you absolutely answered my question. And I love it because it's electricity, and I have a special affinity to that. The reality is I think when those things happen, like that data failure and that power failure, it really highlights the importance of trade work. And I remember when COVID happened, I'm from Pennsylvania, and there was a lot of evaluation on people and their value, honestly. They didn't communicate it that way, but that is what they said. And there was a term that came out, were you an essential worker?
Correct.
And in our state, it was really interesting to learn that everybody thought, well, that's healthcare workers right now. Except what you just said, hospitals don't operate without those things. And we discovered that construction and the trades were essential. And so many things that we thought were more important actually weren't. And so this term essential worker came about, and it applied to construction and the trade work in a way that we were not aware of before that.
Right.
And I think that's something that's pretty interesting. You know,
That-
construction didn't stop, even though the whole world did.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So, with McCarthy and what you guys are doing, what are some of the opportunities that people can experience there? You know, when we opened up, Tim was talking about the things that they teach and they train in. What are some of the opportunities that McCarthy has for people that are wanting a career change or wanting to start a career in life?
So I was just having this discussion earlier, and a lot of times when people think about careers in construction, they think swinging a hammer, cutting material,
Yeah.
etc. But really, there's an entire ecosystem inside of construction. I mean, Tim just mentioned his experience in machinist, and now he's the president of his school. We have accountants, we have HR, we have safety personnel. So it really is an entire ecosystem within itself. We do self-perform a good bit of our own work as well. So with our Atlanta region specifically, we have heavy equipment operators, steel erectors, iron workers, carpenters, form workers. We have an apprenticeship as well, where you can come in, basically get paid to learn. You guys mentioned a few minutes ago the COVID and the impact with the industry, and that brings up a great point. The construction industry has had a skilled labor shortage for probably the last 10 years at least. Yeah. And one of the things we've seen is obviously the baby boomer generation retiring. Trade programs kind of fell by the wayside. As far as 20 years ago, you saw them being eliminated from school programs, vocational programs, and then COVID.
Yeah.
And when COVID hit, a lot of people left the industry. Work got slow. Many of them did not come back. So there's that void is even bigger.
Yeah.
Which creates tremendous opportunity for folks considering entering the industry, whether they're straight out of high school or adults considering a career change. It's also raised the wages, the compensation, the packages from healthcare to bonuses, etc. So it's really created even more opportunity for individuals that are interested in pursuing careers in construction across the board.
Ed, do the cops not like you? Because every time you're talking, they set off their siren, and when Tim talks, it's just quiet.
I guess so. Yep.
That's really good, and it's important. I know when I started many years ago in the trades as an apprentice, they were already talking about a shortage. We didn't have numbers back then, but they were already talking about a shortage. And I think one of the things that really bothered me, I don't think this, I know this. The thing that really bothered me was everybody wanted experienced people. And we keep coming to this, like, we don't want to work for it. And we're all guilty of this. It's like, well, I want the guy that knows what he's doing. And the reality is we really need to focus not on looking for experienced people, but finding people that fit our cultures and our teams that want to learn, and we got to teach them. There's no easy button. There is no quick way out. What does that look like in training and learning the industry?
So you're exactly right. Experience is that. It's the
Okay,
experience.
I just want the part where you said I'm exactly right.
You're
and I
exactly
make that my
right.
wife's ringtone.
Yes, yes, sir. Experience takes time.
Yeah.
And in our trades programs, we're probably 30% theory, lecture, 70% hands-on. If you're going to be a welder
at your school,
at my school, yes. If
Come
you're
on.
going to learn to weld, there's only one way to learn to weld. You have to burn some rods. You have to make arcs. Machinist, you just have to machine material.
Yeah.
And HVAC, you have to cut copper.
Yeah.
You have to wire.
Yeah.
Mechatronics, automation, same thing.
Now he's just showing off with big words like that.
So we're very much hands-on. Develop your skills, develop those psychomotor skills where you can diagnose a problem and actually execute the solution. So that's that hand-eye coordination.
Absolutely,
those
yeah.
things. So even in our healthcare, we've talked about healthcare a little bit.
Yeah.
you want the folks who are drawing your blood to have practiced that on someone else before they do.
Yes.
So that's kind of the basis of a technical college is hands-on training, hands-on skill development.
So tell me a little bit more about, you've talked a lot, and it's clearly in your heart, and I love this, finding your gift, and, knowing what your gifting is. So for those who are listening, if you don't know that, Tim, help us. How do you go about finding that?
So there is an assessment tool called U-Science.
Okay.
I will tell you where I determined, for me in 1978, I took the ASVAB, the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery.
Yeah.
And it scored high in mechanical. I said, well, okay, maybe that's what I'm good at. Well, machinist is mechanical. But U-Science, that's the current version, and many schools offer it at no cost. We do have it offered at Lanier Tech. Someone who just wants to determine what my aptitudes are and what my interests are. And I'm convinced that our aptitudes and interests are connected to our gifts. Yep. Otherwise, we have no interest. So that, I hate saying this, YouTube videos. What's a YouTube video? And if you see, oh gosh,
hopefully some people are watching us on that.
Yeah, exactly. That looks interesting. Well, when we talk to young people, if you have an interest or something piques your interest, we call that a clue.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's something that you could be interested in.
Yeah.
And I like this conversation, the way it's going. We all started as tradespeople. And I will be a machinist till the day I die. I will never not be a tradesperson.
I totally understand.
That did not define my entire life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a misnomer.
Yeah.
And what has just been said, this wealth of opportunities.
Oh, yes.
When you get into a particular trade or sector of our economy, you just begin to realize the opportunities, and the more opportunities you see or take, the more opportunities that are going to present themselves to you.
Absolutely.
So it is just about following that passion.
Yep.
And yes, the money will come, the opportunities will come. You have to work for it. And I will say this, and we say this a lot to young people, if you're the person who is willing to do the work, who's willing to do more than what's required of you, the cream rises to the top. You've just differentiated yourself from your peers.
Yep.
And would love to hear Edwin, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
You need a name tag too, man. He has a name tag.
Sorry.
No, I'm just
I'll
messing
work
with
on
you.
that.
I'm just messing with you.
No, that's a great point. Just to add to that, I would encourage young folks entering the workforce, adults considering a change, just put one foot out there. Take that first step.
Yeah.
Whether it's interning, whether it's volunteering, whether it's helping a friend, like I did growing up, helping, friends and families, parents. Just try things. A lot of times that kind of starts to unravel the road before you, and then definitely Tim hit the nail on the head. Put in that effort. Construction is one of those industries that is performance oriented.
Yeah.
It's not about who you know, what you know. It's literally about how good you are at what you do. And there's some people that get great at it after 20 years. There's some people that get great at it after 20 days.
Yeah.
And as an industry, that's where we have to do our part to make sure we can facilitate that development as quick and efficient as possible.
Yeah.
So pairing those individuals up with the right mentors, giving them the right opportunities on the projects to learn and grow. One thing I've seen, we see statistics in the construction industry about incidents and accidents on the job sites. Over 70% of accidents on job sites are individuals that have been with a company or in the industry for less than 6 months.
Wow.
So obviously, as you're going to recruit and attract this new talent, that incident rate goes up, right? You're hiring people that don't have experience, that don't have the training. I started working with high schools and tech schools about 15 years ago. I've hired over 100 individuals out of these type of programs. And I can tell you, literally, not one of those individuals, to my knowledge, has ever been in a recordable accident.
Wow.
And it's really a testament to the trade programs that they came out of programs like Lanier Tech, high school trade programs. They're learning those key fundamentals, those key safety techniques, wearing PPE, wearing the right gear, and then being paired with employers that really care about their safety and putting them in the right situation, we took our highest risk factor and completely eliminated it.
Yeah.
So if you put these individuals in the right situation, not only can you do something like that, eliminate your highest risk factor, but you can also turn it into one of your greatest advantages.
Yeah.
We've seen kids go from straight out of high school to growing into leadership positions within 4 to 5 years. One thing that kind of brings to mind is a lot of times we hear about the two divides. You can go into the trades, you don't have to go to college, or you can go to college and still go to the trades, but you can marry those two together, and there's definitely huge benefits to
I know
both.
Someone that can help with that.
Exactly.
That's exactly right. So.
I tell people all the time, sometimes I'll go into the classroom and speak to students, and someone will say, well, you don't have to go to college to be successful, and that's correct. But the truth of the matter is, when you go to college and you get the skill trade experience, you really make yourself, you put yourself in a league of your own. That's a very small people that have both of those, advantages, and you can help grow that career into very high leadership much quicker, having both of those.
Yeah.
So I see kids go and just get the construction management degree and go become the project managers, and then I see kids go in and get the construction management degree, work their way through school, pay for their school, making really good money, working with one of these large contractors, and then really growing their career really quickly. So if you can do both, highly encourage you to do both. If you can't, it doesn't have to make or break you. There's tremendous opportunity out there for both paths.
Don't you think it also is like one of those things where I would say whichever path you choose to go on, the importance of recognizing, like, I actually don't like the term college. I like to focus on education. And what I mean by that is whether you go to a college and you learn all the stuff that you need to learn from that and then you go into the trades, or whether you go from the trades and then you continue your education throughout that, meaning, because I've worked with people who are like, well, I've just been doing this for 30 years and this is what, but they didn't make the investment in education.
Correct.
And what I mean by that is, and I'm not trying to bash on engineers when I say this, but I've worked with engineers who have worked in the trades first and engineers who haven't. And I think what we need to recognize is we all can learn from one another. And it's like, so if you went to college, don't come out and hold that degree and be like, I know what I'm doing.
Right.
Because I think all three of us at the table here can say the one thing that we have learned over the period of life that we've been on this earth is that we don't know what we're doing. And continuing to grow and learn. Like, I'm always learning more and more, and I can learn from you, I can learn from you, and the importance of recognizing that when I bring it into the workforce. You talked about people that you've brought in, and they haven't been involved in a recordable incident, which is, wow, impressive, but that only is because of the training that we do.
Yep.
And, it's like, I think some of the most impressive organizations in the world, like Navy SEALs, what do all the time? They train. They train. And it's like, that's what we're talking about: training, education, and learning. Mm-hmm. And so to your point and what you're talking about, that's where we marry the two, and the importance of, I think that there are some guys that have maybe been doing the trades that need to also look at schools like yours and not realize that it's not a demotion. It's not, there are things that you can learn that you're only going to learn from people that are in your organization that have been teaching that and know how to teach that effectively.
Yeah, if I could make a point to that, we have continuing ed. So we have a lot of our graduates who may have graduated 10, 15 years ago. I'll throw an acronym out: PLC, Programmable Logic Controller.
Yeah.
Well, it's, if you learn it in school, but if you don't begin to apply it, then you kind of lose that context. So as you mentioned, you work.
I have lost it.
And we can get it back. You come see me. I'll waive the application fee. So and you'd mentioned the point earlier about it's not just young people.
Yeah.
What's that next thing in your career you're missing? Has it been a while since you've programmed PLCs? Well, come back and take a course and develop that skill set back. So we have a lot of folks from our existing industries who found the magic. It's, okay, I'm going to continue. And what you said is exactly correct. Continuous the continuous development.
Yeah.
And you see that in the the best leaders, you think about the best leaders you know. What's their commonality? They're always learning.
Yeah.
They're always wanting to know more.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. If you know, I heard someone once say there's two mentalities, and he was talking about it from a standpoint of company cultures. And he said you either have a protect and defend mentality, or you have a learn and grow mentality. And I would argue that I don't think you can grow if you don't learn as an organization or an individual.
Correct.
I think it's a deception. And the only way to grow is, one, to be willing to be teachable, and willing to hear from other people. I mean, most always the things that I learn from people outside of myself. I have learned some very painful things in my life that I did that really, really hurt, and I'm like, I'm not doing that again. But that is not the way to learn.
That's right.
And sometimes you don't come back from that.
Yep.
And that's some of what you're talking about related to safety. I mean, the other thing that we don't realize is in the trades, it's like, it's dangerous. You have to be intentional about what you're doing and how you're doing it. I read a book once called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And I think it's one of the things that we really need to apply to our workforce. It's like, hurry doesn't have a place anywhere in what we're doing. Because when I think about getting hurt, when I think about losing money on a job, well, I'd almost rather get physically hurt. When I think about those things, they almost always stem from a place of hurry, and the importance of taking the time to learn from those around us.
Yeah.
So
we had a saying that you see a machinist in a hurry, they're about to mess up, or they just messed up and they're trying to make up for it. You're exactly right. Yeah. It takes time to do quality work.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and I think that's the, you know, if you're, I don't want to say whether you're young or not that this is a thing, but I'm an impatient person. You know, I want to experience it now, and I don't think I'm alone in that. But the quickest way to get where I want to go is to take my time. You know, the reason that I hate the term hurry is, to your point of what you just said about a machinist, well, if you're hurrying and you mess something up, well, then you've lost money. And how many of us have hurried and made a mistake and it took us 3 times longer than if we would have just taken our time?
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, I think that's pretty essential. So, Edwin, what is a mistake that you've made? I told you I was going to ask these questions.
Yeah.
What's a mistake that you've made? We're talking a lot about education and learning. And I talked with you guys both in the beginning of this, how important I think acknowledging, becoming aware of, and knowing our mistakes, and bringing them into the light so that we can see them and learn from them. And you both said that you were willing to share that, and if you didn't, you're on air now, and I'm just going to make fun of you if you don't. But what's a mistake that you've experienced in your career that you'd be willing to share with people that you've learned from?
Sure. So one of the things that come to mind, it's an analogy I often use when talking to students. It's kind of a simple analogy. I'll be in the classroom and I'll tell the students, if you stand at this wall and I stand in the middle of the room and we're racing to that other end of the room, who's likely going to get there first? And obviously the kids will say, well, you, because you're ahead. You got a head start.
This is good.
And that's my key to them is, you know, if I could do anything differently, I would have loved to have taken advantage of thinking seriously about what I wanted to do for the rest of my life earlier on.
Yeah.
It really wasn't until I was about 24 years old and got the opportunity to work for that drywall contractor that I really started to even think about it and consider the different paths that I could take in my career. And I think the sooner you start thinking about that, the better. The sooner you start taking that step out into different opportunities, exposing yourself to things that you may have never considered.
Being intentional.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're gonna open up yourselves to different opportunities that can help give you that direction a lot quicker to help you achieve success at a much faster rate. And when I say success, I don't mean money. I don't think that equates to true success. I think
I would agree.
Doing something that you're really, like we've said, passionate, something that you enjoy, something that you wake up and are excited to go do every day. And that would be my biggest encouragement to young folks entering the industry and adults considering a change is try to find something that you can wake up and love to do every day. And I think that you'll find the success and you'll find the monetary compensation as well.
Yeah. I think I love that. I really appreciate you sharing that. I think that one of the things that's important, money is a tool, like a screwdriver or a hammer. And the reality is there are going to be times in life where you have money and times in life where you don't. I've experienced both. I have been spending my life learning what it is and how to live when I have money and how to live when I don't. And honestly, the most satisfaction I've ever gotten is when I realized it's the same when you have or when you don't. When you're focusing on what you should be focusing on, I have been fulfilled and satisfied with $0. And I've been fulfilled and satisfied when I've had dollars, but only when I realized that it was a tool that I needed to use and to use it that way. Otherwise, it becomes a crutch, it becomes a hurdle, it becomes a goal that actually, if you don't understand what it is, it really can destroy. So,
absolutely. Do not compare yourself to your friends.
Come on,
that's an unfair comparison.
Yeah.
Compare yourself to what you want to be, what you know you can be.
Yeah.
That's the comparison.
Yeah. So. I think that going after excellence is just that. It's being better than you were yesterday, today.
Absolutely.
And you only compare yourself to you because we're all different.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
What's a mistake that you've made, Tim?
So, been thinking about it. For my machinist friends, I've broken my fair share of 1032 taps, usually because I was in a hurry. But I want to, really, it's exactly what Edwin had said.
Come on.
It was 21. I was 21 before I went into higher education, the first in my family to go to higher education. Now I have brothers and a sister that now we all have higher education experience. But it was, in my mind, thinking I was less than. I was not one of those that could go and take advantage of higher education. And that there's 3 years of my life that, don't get me wrong, I'm very satisfied. I'm very content with where I am. But the message is to young people, you can do it.
Yeah.
Don't think you can't. If no one in your family has ever been to college, guess what? No one in my family had ever been to college. And I went, and it made the difference. I found my gift, I found a way to develop my gift, worked hard, and the doors opened themselves.
Well, I think you're a great example. I'm assuming that you might be slightly older than Edwin and myself. I'm not sure. But you've gone from, there's this phrase in construction, from shovel to CEO. And it's one of the things in the trades that I think is very unique if you have the hard work. And you're a good example of that, of going, you started out as a machinist and now you're a president of a college and you're being able to invest that gift that you have been given into other people. That's pretty fulfilling.
Very fulfilling.
Absolutely.
Very fulfilling.
And I would say, I think that one of the cool things about having you both here is I think that you both have a common goal, because I would say, McCarthy, your company's goal is let's help you find that gift. Mm-hmm. And because you self-perform and you have all of these different trades within your organization, you have a real opportunity. Hey, come try this. That's not your gift. That doesn't work. Okay, well, let's go over here and let's learn this. Yeah. And I think that's pretty huge. And that really is what I think people need to be recognizing, that it might take you some time to figure out what your gift is. But like you said, YouTube, assessment tests, I think becoming self-aware is a huge attribute, hopefully I used the right word there, in finding your gift. I talked earlier about Myers-Briggs, Clifton Strengths. There's others out there, different profiles. You talked about ASVAB. Did I say that right?
You did.
I did. Okay.
Yes.
I actually took that when I was younger too, and I discovered I didn't want to be a Marine.
Well, you got the phone calls from the recruiters.
I sure did. And then I met my wife, and I was like, forget that. But in all reality, I wish that I would have become more self-aware earlier in life. Yep. Because that is the key to finding your gift. For me, I believe when you do that, and you can do that through some of those things, but also being able to learn and continue that education is how you maintain that and continue. I would have never thought that I would be sitting down on camera doing podcasts with people in other states. Matter of fact, I never thought that I would leave my state. I thought I would always be running conduit. You know, you were a machinist, and now I'm part of an organization. We fly around the United States promoting and telling the stories of the men and women who do the work. And it's like, that all comes from continuing to be willing to learn, the hard work, and applying ourselves. And you both are in organizations that are trying to help people find their gifts. And I think that that's a huge thing for people to become aware of. Wherever you are in life, finding out what your gift is and going after it with all tenacity.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate you both stepping up to the line and having this real and honest conversation with me. If people are interested in Lanier Technical College, where do they go to find that, Tim?
So Lanier Tech, LANIERTECH.edu.
Okay.
So we got a very robust website. You could look at our menu of programs, video clips, request a tour. We're happy to have anyone visit our campus.
Do they have to be Georgia residents? Or?
They do not. We have some of our programs draw from all over the Southeast. We have a motorsports vehicle technology program that draws internationally.
Wow.
Awesome. Yeah, so.
Now he's showing off.
Yeah. So no, we welcome everybody.
Okay. Great. All right. And so McCarthy, where do they go to find out more about McCarthy if they're looking for a job or a career, or even if they're maybe a client that's looking to hire you guys to do? I mean, you talked about the projects you do. I'm assuming you guys do lots of different size projects, but pretty much anything that someone might need, they're probably calling you.
Sure, yeah. Just check us out online, McCarthy.com. That's MCCARTHY. And you can learn a lot more about us. There's a career tabs on there if you're interested in a career with us. We have offices throughout the U.S. and obviously here in the state of Georgia as well.
Again, it's with you, Ed, every time when you're talking. Oh,
you got a button under there or something.
I do. Yeah. Well, again, I thank you both for stepping up to the line here, having a real and honest conversation with me, and I really appreciate your time.
So, but let me say, both of us,
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for this message.
Yeah.
This is a message that needs to get out.
Absolutely.
People need to hear and understand great careers with trades, potential unlimited. So thank you for carrying the banner for us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Appreciate that, gentlemen. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
It's our honor. All right.